Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Spill, a movie night podcast. I'm your host, Chelsea. Film Spill, if you don't already know, is a podcast that comes out every week, and we talk about a movie by a female filmmaker every episode. We also discuss women in the entertainment industry in general. We play slumber party type games, spill entertainment gossip, and get to know each other and our guest. This week, we have a very special guest, Annie, who is an art PA for Amazon Prime's show Fallout. Annie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hi, Chelsea. Thank you so much for having me on. I love you so much, and I'm so excited to be here. Chelsea and I met 2 years ago, I'd say, while we were working as film teachers. Take Two Film Academy, shout out. And yeah, I have been working in film production now for 8 months, less than a year. I'm on my second job right now. I was on a feature film before called Maestro, coming out next year, and now I was an art PA before, and again on this new job for the Fallout series based on the video games that I do not play, but there are a lot of people excited about it, so it's exciting. Very cool to see these people who are, top of their craft, making beautiful sets and just coming together to make something really cool. So I'm excited to talk about it and talk about this movie.
That is a department that I've always envisioned you in, is art department. When I think of Annie, I think art department.
Oh my gosh. I hope I can keep up. It's a lot.
Do you feel like you're going to stick with this department in the future if you continue working on sets?
Yeah, I hope so. I'm currently taking an AutoCAD class so I can learn how to use the programs the set designers and art directors use to design the sets and everything. I'm slowly learning, but it's been a lot of fun. It's a cool challenge, and I really like the program. So I hope that I can just keep getting better with practice and hopefully stick with it if I get hired again. It's the risk.
I'm cheering you on. I still remember when you started your first gig.
That was my last job. It's called Maestro. It's the Bradley Cooper film about Leonard Bernstein and his life and career and relationship with his wife. So yeah, I got very lucky to know someone who knew the art director, and I just stuck with it. And so I'm glad it's paid off down the line to get me another job. But oh my gosh, when I started, it was a huge adjustment. The hours can be brutal, and people aren't always nice to PAs, but you gotta get through the hard stuff to hopefully prove yourself, I suppose.
I admire you for what you do.
I can't do this because I'm hanging on by a thread, but I'm what else? I don't have another job.
But it's pretty cool what you do, though. I feel like you still get that behind the scenes.
Oh yeah,
type feel.
Definitely. I know unfortunately I'm not on set very often. There was a month at my last job when I kind of got to be a bit, which was just a very cool experience. To see Bradley Cooper directing and then in the scene and then calling, giving direction while he's in character and then just snapping back into it. But for the most part, yeah, I'm kind of just in the offices, and it's really cool to see the process of they come up with these ideas, and then you hear about oh, what sets need to be built. You read the scripts and you're oh, you kind of envision it on your own just reading it. And then when you see the set designers' plans and you're oh my gosh, yeah, they nailed it. This really looks like how it was described. And then over time you get to see it be built, and then see footage with actors in it. And then in the end, I've never worked on anything that's come out yet because I've only been doing this less than a year. And so that's what I'm really excited to see, like how it finally turns out in the very end. And, it's sometimes you're going to see it and you're like, yeah, that's just an apartment. Like he's just in a room. It doesn't seem as like significant as it did in the time when we were making it. But, that means it's good. It just kind of blended in and felt real. So hopefully that's what happens.
Those are the moments that I miss the most, is feeling that type of joy, because you had put so much work into whatever you envisioned. So setting everything up and then seeing it on the big screen and you're like, oh my God, I did that. Like, that's me. Like I was behind that idea. It's just surreal. Like, even though people do see it as like, that's a couch.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. And on Maestro, like the graphic designer did a poster that goes outside one of the theaters, and he put like everybody's name in our department on the poster. Just, it'll be blurry, it'll be in the background, you won't see it. I like was so excited. I sent it to my parents. I was like, I'm gonna be in the movie. Like, look for my name on the wall. And like literally it'll be impossible to see, but when I see it, I'll be like, oh, that's me.
Exactly. And all the hard work that you put into it. Is your name going to be in the credits as like RPA?
Yeah, it should be.
Oh my God. Really? I'm going to circle it and then I'm going to send it.
Let's hope. Watching TV shows I've seen, I'm like, oh, they never really credit the RPAs. They don't credit a lot of PAs, sadly. So we'll see. I think on the film it should be. On the Fallout show, I don't know. I feel like
You're like I'm
Amazon
iffy about that one.
Yeah, like it's a really, like, I'm very excited about it, of course, but like I feel like TV, especially on Netflix, but like also on Amazon, you're watching the credits and then it just skips to the next episode right away. And like that's fine, I do that too. But I also feel like they go by so quickly, they cut a lot of people out. So yeah, might not be credited there, but that's fine.
It goes fast, but I've started to pay attention a lot more, because I'm like, okay, if I'm looking out for my name, where would I be looking at? So I'm preparing myself.
Oh, cool. Yours would be higher up, I believe.
I hope so. One day. Throwing that out.
Yes. Put it out there in the universe.
I do this segment where I shout out a TV show, and I know we were talking about that. You haven't watched it before, but today we're going to talk about Isabel Sandoval's drama film Lingua Franca. But before we talk about that, it's time for Name That Episode. So
Okay.
This week we will be discussing Superstore.
All right, let's do it.
The person in particular that we're shouting out is America Ferrera, who is a producer, actress, and director. All 6 seasons of Superstore are available to watch on Hulu. America is directing a new feature film based on the best-selling novel, Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. But she's also directed episodes of the Netflix series Gentified. She continues to be a voice for the Latino community in film and television.
Right.
That is this week's episode shout out.
Arizona, so love her.
Really? I didn't know that.
Remember, I had like a friend whose cousin went to camp with her growing up or something. I was always like, oh, she's so cool.
It's a small world. This week's slumber party type game is which character from Superstore are you? Okay, so I'm gonna let you do it to me, so you can like say what it is. So pick your ideal Saturday night activity and let me know your choice, and then I'm gonna do it on my end.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, so I pick your ideal Saturday night activity. Oh, sleeping, art gallery or museum. Actually watching Netflix. I'm gonna say a night out with my friends. Not what I do every Saturday, but what I'd like to do when I'm not too tired. Okay, number 2, pick a bird. Oh, tit. Penguin. Yes, penguin's a bird. That just throws me. Oh, I'm stuck between.
Is it because they don't fly?
Yeah, I guess that's why I'm thrown a little. I love penguins. Obviously, they're birds. I'm gonna go with owl. Oh, pick a celebrity crush. Oh, I have like a million celebrity crushes, and Some of them are on this list. Oh man. Julianne Moore, Michael B. Jordan, Donald Glover, or Ryan Gosling. I'm gonna go with Julianne Moore. I love her. All right, pick a department to work in. Oh, I would go with clothing department. All right, pick a movie genre. Romance, horror, sci-fi. I'm gonna go with comedy. It's tough, that or animation, but okay, pick an item to keep from the lost and found. That's funny. Oh, I'm gonna go with some loose weed. If you find that in lost and found, just take it and run.
Wouldn't you be worried though?
Yeah.
What if it was laced?
Oh, good point. Hey, if someone's shopping in a superstore, I don't know. I feel like I trust them. Like, what am I gonna do with a lone shoe? With one shoe, somewhat functioning headphones. That's what all my headphones are now. I don't need another. Someone's journal. Okay, maybe someone's journal. That's a good one. Pick a word to describe yourself. Oh, I'm gonna go with ambitious. Maybe that's being generous to myself, but
No, you should.
the other one, I'm like I feel like I'd pick shy, but not always, you know. All right.
Yeah.
Pick a radio song to sing along to. Oh. Oh, I'm gonna go with Havana by Camila Cabello. Of these songs, I really like that one. Yeah.
It's catchy.
So catchy. Pick someone to spend your shift with. Oh, okay. I don't know this show, so I'm just going off pictures. I'm gonna pick Justine. She looks a little crazy in a fun way. Okay, I got my answer.
Let us know who you got.
I got Cheyenne. Oh, you're bubbly and fun and a little naive about certain worldly things. That sounds like me. A good conversationalist, a fan of gossip, yep. But you shy away from confrontation and tend to laugh maniacally in awkward situations. Yes. You're a modest person and may often be underestimated, but your friends appreciate you for being sensitive and non-judgmental. You know that you will step up to help them when they are in need. You're ultimately guided by a clear set of core morals and try to be an all-around good person, which you definitely are. Oh, thanks, BuzzFeed.
I agree with that. Annie is like the best person ever.
Oh,
I love you.
Love you.
I always have fun with Annie.
Oh, we have so much fun. Too much fun sometimes. Did you do the quiz?
Yeah, I did. I did it earlier, actually. I got Sandra.
Oh, what does it say?
It was saying that that I'm self-conscious or something like that. Not the greatest things. I'm like, oh, okay, great.
Not how I would describe you.
Not accurate, BuzzFeed. So let's get into this week's movie, Lingua Franca, 2019. Lingua Franca is available to watch on Netflix and Tubi. This discussion will contain spoilers for the film, so if you haven't already seen it, go watch and come back afterwards to hear our thoughts. The film follows an undocumented Filipina trans woman who works as a caregiver for an elderly woman named Olga in Brooklyn and Brighton Beach area. When Olivia runs out of options to attain legal status in the US, she becomes romantically involved with Alex, Olga's adult grandson, in the pursuit of a marriage-based green card. What were your initial thoughts on the film?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it looked beautiful. I thought it was very emotionally moving. I thought she was phenomenal. And like it was really, it wasn't over the top. It was really subtle and just like really beautiful and heartbreaking. Like it's a sad ending, jumping into spoilers right away, but she ends in the same place she began. And I think that's, reflects a lot of like people's stories who are trying to become documented in the States, and like you try all these options and sometimes you just hit dead ends. And I can't relate, but like I can empathize and really like see like how emotionally draining that must have been. And even when she finally like has an option like with Alex, like, and she's just like, she respected herself too much and was like, I'm not gonna let someone I can't trust be a part of the like helping me through this, because you never know, and she has to be really careful. So I don't know, I thought it was a really sad but beautiful story, and I'm really happy you picked this one, because I don't know if I would have watched it otherwise. Like it was kind of hidden on Netflix, and I'm just really grateful you brought it to my attention.
Oh, I'm glad that you liked it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even hear of Isabel Sandoval until I did the Women's Weekend Film Challenge.
Oh, cool.
And I was part of Team Sandoval, and I'd never heard of her before.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, so
very
I was
talented.
like, I was like, I have to know why, because like I know there was specific like women who were picked for like the names that we were part of, like the team. So I'm like, there has to be something special about her for us to have a team dedicated to her. And then
Yeah.
I learned more about her. She did everything for this film.
Oh my gosh.
She
I
was
know.
the she wrote it, yeah, directed it, produced it, and edited it, and she acted in it.
No, girl, busy. A jack of
Mm-hmm.
all trades. Wow, that's amazing. I really like, I thought the pacing was great. I thought the editing was very impressive. And yeah, the story was just very well written, and I don't know. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, she was she had all hats on deck for this film, and she wanted to tell her story not just cuz like in like not to like, well, I mean, yeah, we're spoiling it, but to dive in more deep to like the story like behind her character is she was initially like coming out. So like when she was transitioning, she was creating this film. And also, the election of Trump was also happening when she was writing this film.
Oh,
So, that, I mean, that alone, a lot of people's rights were jeopardized because of things that were being said. One thing was illegal, undocumented, which, we see more in the story. We see ICE coming in and grabbing people. ICE is involved in the story, and that's something that she is fearful of. And it's mentioned throughout the film is something like, she doesn't want to she doesn't want that to happen to her. She, no one would.
yeah. I think part of that also was like, as a trans woman, like if she were taken by ICE, they most likely would put her in an immigration detention center with men, like, just misgendering her, and because that's what's on her passport. And I feel like that added a lot to her fear, because that's horrifying and terrible. And so I don't know. It was it was scary for sure. And I understood when people like say like, when Alex is like, oh yeah, like an ICE agent, I guess, was here, and she's like starts having a panic attack immediately, even though what he's saying like doesn't sound very like believable, and he's like, he came in with a ski mask, and and but she's just like, she doesn't have time to process it, because like she just jumps into like fight or flight, because it's scary.
See, I didn't like that he did that he was protecting his friend and wouldn't just be like, hey, my friend snuck into your room, stole some money, and then looked at your passport and
I
let me know that you were trans. Yeah. But then what I appreciated him for is that there wasn't any drama. I mean, she didn't want to write in drama with the reveal of her being trans, but
Yeah,
he says that he doesn't care. But then he brings up, oh, you didn't tell me. Why didn't you tell me?
yeah, I know. And like it, yeah, I that was something I liked at first, because when they're starting to get together, like it feels very hopeful, and it's very sweet, and like you can tell like, yeah, this is like a guy who's struggling and like is getting back on his feet, but like maybe they can get through this together, and figure it out, and it could be good. And like I was like, oh, I love that this is like a trans love story that isn't like rooted in like bigotry, or like, oh, they can't be together because like my parents don't approve, like it wasn't anything like that, which I liked. And then yeah, when he finds out, he tells his friend like, don't tell anyone, but it doesn't change his opinion of her or like how he treats her, besides, yeah, like still covering for his friend who was a total asshole and stole from her and thought it was funny. It was just like, LOL, like, yeah, look what I found. Like, oh, I hated that. I hated the friend. But yeah.
Me too. I wanted her to get out of the shower. I was like, get out of the shower. He's stealing your money.
Oh, I was like, and she needs that. Her mom needed that money. Oh, it made me so mad. Like,
I know. Don't you just hate those emotional like pokes that you get in films and you like get so emotionally attached, but you know it's just a movie?
yeah,
but you're like, ah.
I feel like rewatching things too. I feel like it's even worse for me because you know it's gonna happen, but you're like, maybe do it differently this time. But like obviously that can't happen.
Seriously.
Like, girl, I did forgot she was in the shower. I thought she was sleeping when he went in her room. I was like, wake up, like catch him, like somebody do something. Like, I don't know. It's just so upsetting. And yeah, then like
nothing happens to him.
yeah, and Alex doesn't like do anything about it. He wasn't like, hey, why'd you do that? Like, he's just like, oh man, what? Don't tell anyone, like she's trans. Like, I don't know. It was so weird. But maybe it seemed like that guy was Alex's only friend. And so maybe he didn't want to lose that too, but not someone I'd want to be friends with.
He wasn't a great influence either because he's trying to get sober and his friend was like provoking him to drink. So already you knew he wasn't a good person.
Right? And like he did. He got fired because he came to work drunk and dropped that pig carcass on the ground.
That slaughterhouse was just like, this is why I don't eat meat.
Yeah, I do still eat meat, but I'm watching that, I'm like, oh right, I shouldn't.
And then he made that comment like, you're lucky that the FCC or whatever, like I guess the health department isn't there to like witness that the freaking meat fell on the floor. I'm like, I know that happens. I know for a fact that happens.
I'm like, because they definitely just picked it back up, put it on the hook and put the safety on or whatever and kept moving. So
they can't lose that money.
Oh, I know, but like, I guess, he's really this guy, Alex, that was his only option to get this job, like from a family member. And as, gruesome as it sounded, he didn't really have options. And so I don't know. You're supposed to sympathize with him, I guess, too, but he hid some information from her that wasn't cool.
Exactly. But going on some more background on the film, or background on who Isabel Sandoval is. She moved to New York City after graduating from the University of San Carlos. She directed in 2011 Señorita, a film about trans women working on a political campaign while raising a young boy. And this was the movie before she realized her identity, which then she later transitioned in 2019. And that really helped her portray who she is in this film. And she plays Olivia. There is some suspenseful elements and like drama, of course. And I feel like one of the suspenseful moments is when he is looking through her stuff and you like think something's going to happen. Because of all of these emotions that like play into like you get rage, you feel like someone might come out, all this type of like emotional suspense. So Sandoval became the first openly trans woman of color to compete at the Venice Film Festival. She was named Best Actress at the 18th International Siphon Society Awards at the Pacific Meridian International Film Festival. So we've never seen Filipino women in film, especially like trans Filipino women. And Netflix was trying to change that by introducing this movie to its audiences. Sandoval has stressed that she wants to pave the way for future filmmakers of color like herself. Because she does wear different hats in the film world, she got asked, like, in this interview what she would prefer to do out of all of the hats that she wears on a daily basis. And she said she would prefer to pick an editor role.
Wow. I get it. Editing's fine.
You think so?
Yeah, you don't like editing?
I mean, I edit for a living.
Yeah, I'm like, after all those videos we edited for students, I understand never wanting to do it again.
Oh my God, those were the worst.
So it was rough. Man, that's yeah. I just thought she was a really strong actor and director and writer. So it's cool she has options.
Yeah, like that she's good at everything. I struggle with doing it all at the same time. I feel like it's a lot of work.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But she managed made something great out of it. I think that's cool.
I know
like,
she's done it multiple times.
Yeah. Like, I think, did she, on the first movie she made, did she write it? Was it the same thing, like writing, directing it? Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. But I like that, you get to have so much control over what it is and really be careful of that your vision is achieved and your message gets out there.
And I feel for like some creatives who, not that they have a hard time trusting people with their creative process, but want it done a certain way and they rather just do it themselves to just like see through their vision entirely. And like, I feel that way to a certain extent. I feel like working with other people gives you another type of insight. Like maybe you weren't thinking of that idea, or like, maybe they teach you something that makes your life easier in the process of like making your film. Like, I don't know. A lot of things can like factor in when you're working with other people.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons.
Yeah. I don't think I could do this all on my own. Like, I don't. But, her story was very personal. So it makes sense for her to do it this way.
All right. So I wanted to get into some like technical stuff about the film. The film was shot in 16 days in Brooklyn. Aesthetically, this film was very daring, adventurous, and experimental project for Isabel. She used it as an opportunity to showcase her unique sensibilities as a filmmaker. And I think she really did. She captured a lot of like emotion, like raw emotion, things that like she would be going through, or maybe she did go through. I didn't really like go into depth with like how she became a US citizen, or like if there was a time period in her life that she was undocumented. I don't know if she wants to reveal that information, but
yeah.
But I think that that's like a good thing for like any filmmaker, is when you put so much raw emotion. And like she even says, me not worrying about what other people think or are going to think about the film, especially when I'm submitting it to like film festivals, what that film festival is going to think about my film. Like me not thinking about that helped me with like the editing process, or what I wanted to showcase. And it does give a lot of raw emotions that we might not typically see.
Yeah.
Like I know like how, and I feel like this is always brought up because television has evolved so much, is like how sex scenes are shown in television.
Yeah.
So we obviously see like the sex scene between her and Alex, and it's getting feisty in there.
Oh yeah, real quick.
Seeing a lot of boob action. But we see just her getting pleasured, and that is like the new thing with showing female pleasure on the screen, not showcasing like, I guess, intercourse between a man and a woman, and it not being and not just the male being satisfied with him plundering on like the female, It's more like making a woman orgasm and her being satisfied and pleasured.
Yeah. It felt like a tender moment. Like it was very quick, like they had spent one night driving around together and then got home and went at it. But it still felt very sweet, and like you could tell like she was enjoying it and he was enjoying it, and it was nice. Like that's why like I felt really hopeful after that, because I was like, oh, they shared like this beautiful moment, and like they both seemed like very happy following it. Like I loved the shots of him driving around afterwards and like him thinking about it, and like he was thinking about when they were driving and laughing, and it just felt very sweet. And then like another shot of him just driving, thinking to himself, and he was just like smiling to himself. And I thought like the colors were so beautiful. Like it just, I don't know, it was very nice. And so I'm sad it doesn't work out for them, but probably for the best.
Those overhead back shots of him when he was driving through like Brooklyn, like seeing like the townhouses and the lights reminded me of like Christmas time in like
Right.
Brooklyn with like, or
Oh,
like even in the city with just like the brownstones and seeing all the lights.
it was so
Yeah.
nice. I love like the that opening shot where it's like down the street and then you see it's nighttime, but you see the subway go by, but all the lights are inside the subway windows. Like it just feels like a little fairy tale.
Yeah.
That's also, I love, I think you had it in your notes, like how she wanted to pick a neighborhood of Brooklyn that, or, you know, a neighborhood of New York that isn't shown as often in films. And I really enjoyed it. Like it was cool to see Brighton Beach. Like I love when they show Coney Island in the, or I guess is it Coney Island, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Only been once. But when they show it in the snow, I was like, man, I've never been out there in the winter. Like, of course it's still there. I just hadn't even thought like, oh, it gets snowed in, you know? It was just cool. And I have like on my letterbox a little list of like movies based in New York. And I was going through them when I added this one to it. And it's like, oh yeah, they're all like based in Manhattan or the Bronx or Brooklyn. And so it was cool to see a new neighborhood that I don't get to see as often.
Yeah, it's true. And there's some really like beautiful aspects of Brighton Beach, like Coney Island. That shot, I believe, was taken during sunrise because I've gone out to Coney Island to shoot for sunrise. And it
Oh,
looked just like that. Yeah, like that pretty pink color.
oh, beautiful.
It's
And
so nice. And there's no one on the boardwalk. Yeah.
good. Better that way. I'm just kidding. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Coney Island.
I know, right? Like I don't really go to Coney Island either, but when I go, I'm like, oh, yay.
Oh, last time I went, it was like during the pandemic, and so the amusement park was closed. So I still need to go back, see what all the hype is.
I've only gone on one ride ever.
Really? Was it scary?
Yeah. I don't even remember. That's how long ago it was.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Have a
Yeah,
little
I've only gone.
girls moment.
I know, right? We should, because it's really pretty. Like I said, if you go there when there's like barely anyone, or at a time of the year when there's like barely anyone, it's fun because it does get really crowded in the summertime. Like once July, August hits, oh my God.
You know, that's when I went. I was like, maybe in a few years I'll come back.
I mean, like that's like Manhattan too, like during the holidays. And that's why I've been telling my family, like, come now because December, no, I don't even want to walk. I can't. There's just too many freaking people.
Oh my
like,
God.
We don't all fit.
No. Oh, I'm so like, I used to bike through Central Park to get to work, and oh my gosh, all the tourists taking the horse carriages around, like just out on walks with their hot chocolates, walking like in the bike lanes. Oh, it drives me crazy. And then all the tour guides, and it's too much. But I get it. We live somewhere very, very beautiful.
Very popular, and everyone wants to come to New York.
I get it. I can relate. I'm trying to get to work, get out of my way.
I know. I'm just like, we all got places to be. Come on, people.
Right. Sometimes when I'm like being really sad, I never say it, but in my head, when I'm feeling really sassy and like I can tell like it's a group of tourists slowing me down. And like, I just want to walk by and be like, well, I'm glad you're enjoying your vacation, but I have places to be, you know? Like that's my like really, it's so mean. And I would never say it out loud, but sometimes I'm like, just move it.
I will sometimes. Like, I don't care. Some people really won't move. And like, especially when I'm trying to get from the N train all the way to like Port Authority, because there's that big hill that you have to like go up. I don't know if you've gone up that big hill.
I know what you're talking
It's
about.
the worst.
Oh,
And it's always
really
packed with people, and people like don't move. And I'm just like, just move.
Why are you sitting here? Like, what? Like,
literally, and people will stop in the middle, and I'm like, why move?
Like, that's cool. You got nothing going on right now, but I do, and you're really hindering that for me. Like,
yeah, exactly. You're messing my momentum right now.
all right, I'm glad we can relate on that. 'Cause sometimes I'm like, oh, am I being a jerk? And it's like, well, yeah, but like they are in the way.
No, for real, they are. And I am one to just be frustrated with just the traffic. Like the traffic even in the subways has just been ridiculous. The best time that I've like realized that I can travel in the subway is on the fucking weekends. I'm like, this makes no sense. Why on the weekends is there like no one here?
Like, I know I take the subway like really early in the morning, not so early, well, like 7 is when I get on. And usually like it's pretty quiet because, there's just not as many people that early, I guess. But there will be certain days of the week, like every Tuesday, I'll get on the subway and can't find a seat. And I have to ride that subway for 30, 40 minutes. So I'm like, if I don't get to sit down and fall asleep before I get to work, like I'm gonna be a cranky girl. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm like, what is this influx of people who are just here on Tuesdays? Like, I don't know. But the commuting.
What train do you take?
I take the Q from 72nd all the way to DeKalb in Brooklyn.
Oh my God, you go to DeKalb. I go like past DeKalb. So like I could take the Q to DeKalb. Oh my God, I might see you in the mornings.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah, if the N isn't functioning, which sometimes it doesn't fucking function, I have to take the Q to DeKalb, then transfer to the R to take a local.
Oh my gosh. Man.
I go deep. I'm telling you.
One time sometimes I'll take the Q to Canal and then take the M or J into Brooklyn. And one time I did that and then was walking to get back on the Q to go uptown and was just following the signs, but not really paying attention, and was like, oh, I didn't know I could go down this stair to get on, like this stairwell to get on the Q. Got on, ended up back at the DeKalb station and was like, oh, like, and realized it immediately. I was like, why is this subway going above ground right now? Huh? And it was like, oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Oh my God, I hate that.
I hate that so much. I'm like, oh, way to throw 30 minutes away. But
I know. Oh my God, that happened to me once. And you can live here no matter how many years, and I feel like you can still fuck up on the trains.
Oh yeah. You know how many times I'm like taking the L, I think, and I'm supposed to get off at 14th Street Union Square, but I'm like, oh, but then there are like 3 14th Street stops on that train. Maybe I'm just fully wrong and can't read, but I swear I was like, oh no, I'm not getting off at this 14th Street, the other one, and then realized I fully missed my stop, and like it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is, because I think it's different avenues that the L will take you. So like 14th Street and like this avenue.
Yes. And I was like, oh, just gotta keep going. Not my stop yet. Was fully past it. Like went 2 stops past where I was supposed to go. Like,
you're like, well, guess I'm getting off here and I'm walking.
But I think in the movie, like when she's at the train station, I feel like it's the Q or maybe the B, but I feel like
it's the Q
goes to Coney Island. Yeah. It's my train.
I know. I was looking because it's going pretty fast. So
yeah.
Which is that? But yeah, I realized it was the Q.
Yay.
Yeah, some like themes. Let's go over some themes of the film. So one of the themes was intersexuality, so being a trans woman as well as an immigrant and the social pressures that come with those identities. I know we touched base on some of that. Sandoval was inspired by films that depict impossible love relationships, and Lingua Franca deals with the complexities of love.
I don't know. Yeah, like on the complexities of love, like I felt like, I don't know, like it was so sad that she had like a good connection with Alex, and it seemed like there was really something that could happen between them. And then like her trust was broken and it was, couldn't be repaired. But that was also sad because it was like a good option to get what she needed to get her green card, and he was willing to do that. But like she knew she deserved better than that too, even if it was meant going back to where she started and having to pay someone to spend time with her, to take photos, to put in an album she could prove to like for her green card. And it was so rough, but I think she deserves to be with someone she loves and who respects her. So
He was ready to get married with her that same day. He's like, let's go marry now.
I know. And maybe that was part of, maybe she was like, like this could solve my problems, but he's a little intense. Like it's a little much.
Yes. I think because he came with such a baggage and already off the bat, he lied to her. And that was something that wasn't just like a little white lie. Like he made her scared and have a panic attack.
Yes. And yeah, took like her biggest fear and kind of like taunted her with it almost. Like just did not think about what he was saying, and yeah, made her feel really like unsafe because of a lie he told to cover his friend who was trash. So I mean, yeah, if he was doing that for that, like who knows what he could do in the future, even if it meant she could be a citizen and like stop worrying. But also, like, I think, she made that whole scrapbook of the photos with that other guy she was going to marry, like, for a year or so. It seemed like it took a lot of time and cost her a lot of money. And maybe she also thought, like, if I just marry this other guy, like, how can I prove that it's real? Like, it might not work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No, and it's hard to step away from the safe route. So her safe route was just to be like, oh, whatever, and ignore all the red flags and just go with Alex and just marry him. But she knew that wasn't going to be the best decision later down on the line. And she, I guess, really thought about it and knew that the better option was just to go with the other guy who seemed interested and was willing to participate in doing the whole marriage for money, which honestly happens a lot.
yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
Like, how do you get involved with that? Do you like sign up to like, what is it? Like, I don't know, like a website to just get married with anyone who needs a green card?
I know, it seemed like they were kind of like, oh, like my friend knows someone from work, and like was it her sister? Like
Her sister.
yeah, and her sister was like, oh, I might be able to ask around. And like, I know it was sad. And then it's sad, like that they agree, they're agreeing to do this. And like, I guess I was just like, man, like it feels strange that they're like doing it for money. And like, I know they needed something out of it too. Like they are risking a lot by, kind of doing this fake arranged marriage sort of. But I don't know. I was like, ugh, she needs this money to send home to her family. Like she's supporting so much. And like, I don't know. It just it's a heartbreaking situation.
Yeah, it's like she's trying to make a living on her own, trying to make a life for herself, as well as still trying to help her family back in the Philippines. And she's then dealing with being scared that she's going to get caught at the same time. And what her sister brings up a point of her actually finding love and seeking marriage through that way. So that is a topic that is brought up, which she could have in the back of her mind, that maybe she potentially thinks she could see with Alex, but then the whole trust is broken. So I don't know.
Heartbreaking.
No, will there be a lingua franca too? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it'd have a sequel, but I'm definitely interested to see more of what she makes. 'Cause I'm a fan.
Yeah, me too. I saw that she directed one of my favorite TV series on Hulu.
Oh,
Yeah, she directed 2 episodes. I don't know if you've heard of it, Tell Me Lies.
no. It's on Hulu?
Yeah, it's so good. You have to watch it.
All right, sounds great.
It has 10 episodes, so you can just binge right through.
All right, yeah, easy.
But I guess now she's directing television. So she has her feature films out. I was trying to see if I could find where we could stream it. They were being streamed on a website that I heard her talk about in an interview. I just never heard of it, nor could I find it. I couldn't really understand. So unfortunately, I couldn't find that. And it's not available to watch on Netflix or anything like that. So yeah, if I figure out, because I did hit the because now Google does alerts for things that you want on your watch list. Yeah.
So cool. All right, let me know when you get that alert.
Yeah, Google's really progressed itself throughout the years. Very impressive.
They make things easy. What can I say?
I know. What can I say, Google? Thank you for making my life easier.
Thanks, Google.
Please sponsor us.
Oh, that'd be huge.
All right. So that wraps up our discussion. Thank you for listening. This has been Film Spill, a movie night podcast. Thank you to Annie for being a fantastic guest.
Follow me on Instagram at onetoughshrimp or on Letterboxd at Annie_Collopy. Oh wait, or it's my Twitter. I think if you did that, you'd find it. But yeah, Annie_Collopy. Follow me on Letterboxd. That's where I talk about movies all day long.
Oh, that's so cute. I'll go follow you on there too.
Oh my gosh, then I will follow you back right away. But thank you so much for having me. I love your podcast and I love you, and I'm so grateful for this. And thank you for wanting to talk to me about this great movie.
Of course. I wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Me either. So
you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. All are at Film Spill Pod. Tell a friend about the podcast if you like, and leave us a review for us on Apple Podcast. That will help other people find Film Spill too.
All right. Until next time, don't cry over a spilled film.